This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. It seems like every podcaster's wet dream is to score a big shot interviewee. It may be an internet marketing guru, a best-selling self-help author, or even someone who's famous for being famous. Podcasting is all about social proof. Of course, I'm no different. On my show, I hosted internet marketing gurus, best-selling authors, and even one billionaire, the founder of Priceline.com. Now, today, however, it's a different sort of show. I'm hopeful today's episode will inspire you because I'm joined by Lance Sumner, aka Major Sumner. Major is a longtime member of my VIP club. We first started working together when he was still trying to make sense of internet marketing. And these days, however, his name sparkles on the digital altitude leaderboards. Lance is the modern-day biz-up unicorn. He's what every internet marketing beginner aspires to be. He's that one guy who actually succeeded, because we never hear those stories anymore, right? We only see the gurus. So please help me welcome Major Lance Sumner.
Well, thank you, Igor. I appreciate you having me on your show. Appreciate that.
My pleasure, Major. So the reason I invited you on the show is to quite literally share the kind of journey you've made, right? The path you walked on from the point when you decided to start making money from home, when you decided it was time for you to start a brand new, quote unquote, career, right? And all the way to this day when you've become somebody, when you've made a name for yourself, where today you're leading people that coming after you, which is an incredible transformation. And, you know, as it happens, we don't seem to think that way. Like I am yet to meet somebody who thinks their transformation was incredible, but seeing your transformation from a third person viewpoint, you know, it is truly incredible, I assure you. So without further ado, my first question is, when and how did you decide to start this internet business for yourself?
Yeah, sure. So it was coming around about 2008. Been serving in the Army for 22 years. It's time to retire, coming up in 2008. And so wanted to start looking what I'm going to be able to do to generate income, because when going into retirement, I'll have some income with the retirement income, but it's going to be cut dramatically. So now I got to figure it out. So I noticed that some people, I was looking at people making money online. What can I do being able to work online or work from home? And I was seeing how people were being successful. I was noticing that. I was saying, hey, you know, I'm no dummy. I can do this. Let me figure this out. I want to try to do this. So about 2008, I dipped into it and kind of started off like a hobby, not so serious, did a little bit of affiliate marketing, and even found a place called World Profit, which I believed would work for me because it was going to provide the right training, with a lot of training and being able to do right things and develop myself. However, what I found with that is that the training was so many modules of training that it was very difficult to keep going and get it straight because it was very confusing.
Yeah, you mentioned when we spoke before the show, you mentioned there were 60 modules of training. It's crazy.
Yeah, 60 plus modules. And so what was happening was I noticed is, yes, I was gaining. It was good training, but it was so much that the people that would join you would come in for a month, be over inundated, and all of a sudden just leave. So there was the retention of a team, building a team was not there. And so where I wanted to get in building the income was not happening. So I needed to do something else that was going to get me to where I wanted to be.
Interesting. So you join a company, and here you are, brand new to internet marketing, and it's critical that they make it seem easy, that they chew it for you almost, right? So it's easy to swallow. And I bet it's even been sold to you as this easy system, this step by step where they hold you by the hand, and you walk into a college level education where you have to spend quite literally months and months and months to figure this out. So I can only imagine the overwhelm you felt.
Yeah, it initially, yeah, I was more than glad to go through the training because I really didn't know what to do. It was all new to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be hard charging just like a soldier, very disciplined, and started doing consistent actions. But it really, and one of the downfalls, it was more like a job because there was a learning in there about traffic. However, the traffic learning was about safe lists and traffic exchanges. Well, anybody that's tried that before knows that that's almost a job in itself because you're having to surf sites to earn credits, to get hits to your website, to get mailing credits for you to mail out to these safe lists that doesn't produce any kind of results really anyway. Not as good as what I've learned to do now.
You know what I used to do with traffic exchanges? I went through a similar journey. I've had 5 of them open on my desktop, and I would quite literally rotate between the tabs while watching TV, clicking on those sites. Until at one point it occurred to me, oh my God, everybody else is doing the same thing. That's how I'm getting hits. If I'm not watching the screen while I'm waiting for the 30-second, thingy to kind of, tick down and kind of move me to the next website, then why would anyone else do it? Am I the only one who's quote unquote smart, to kind of trick the system?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I moved away from traffic exchanges. That was a total waste of time. I think I spent a couple of months just doing that, hoping that would be my traffic strategy. But anyway, so you're in it. You went in. There's 60 modules. It's overwhelming, but you succeeded. You're a soldier, right? You soldier on and you figure it out and you start getting people on board, but nobody's sticking to it because it's too overwhelming. So what do you do then?
So then I came across, and this is when I made the move because I was doing this, not getting me to where I want to be, income-wise or anything. And so I noticed Empower Network, and I'm interested in that. So then I decided to make a shift because I made some connections with people there and followed some of the leadership first, taking a look at it. And so moved over into that, which is primarily it was kind of a structure under a blogging platform, but with really good training on top producer formula, 6-figure formula, and taking you through how to build teams, having the right mindset, and then step by step, being able to do specific daily actions and things. And also gave me my first wins in a greater way. So the income began to grow. Now, let me throw this in. So as I kept looking, and some of the downfalls, the hardships for me were the fact of finding a traffic source that worked, because this is when I started using a paid solo ad strategy. It was best for me. It worked best for me. But I could never find the traffic source that worked. I would buy some traffic and think and read the reviews. It seemed good. However, maybe if I was lucky, I got 10% opt-in rate, maybe some sales, but never could find the solid source. However, until about 2 to 3 years ago, when I saw your ads pop up with a guarantee, I said, hey, this is interesting. I want to try this. And that's when the big change happened. So when I started using you, then I started getting the higher opt-in rate, building my list quicker, people coming in and joining my team, and of course, income rising. And then that made the difference with how life is today.
Now, Major, of course, right now it seems like that made all the difference, which of course it did not. It contributed, I'm sure. My traffic always contributes, but it never is the only reason why you succeed. Now, the one thing I know, that it wasn't easy for you to just kind of throw money at it, right? I mean, you were in a really, interesting situation, kind of getting out of divorce and in debt. So how were you able to still do this? Because a lot of people tell me that they don't want to do paid traffic because they don't want to, kind of spend money they don't have, or maybe they're afraid to spend it because they can't afford a bad campaign, So what was it like for you?
Well, yeah. So I did have to juggle a lot of things. And so you mentioned, divorce. Well, there's been a lot of hardships in my life that caused, setbacks or challenges. So over 10 years ago, I lost my first wife to leukemia. Then I thought, oh, well, it's okay. A little while later, I can get married again. That went to hell in a handbasket and ended up having to get divorced. But I got left with all the debt, $60,000 plus debt. Plus, I'm a single parent raising 2 kids. And this is all taken up all the time. It feels like a heavy rock on your shoulders with the debt. You're trying to deal with it. How am I going to deal with this? And so I managed to slice off just a portion of the income to use this paid solo ad strategy and kind of just do that. But as income began to rise, what I would do is just reinvest in it to scale up, which then began to produce the greater results. But still, things were a time thief because I have to raise my kids, get them to their sporting events, do this and that, and all over the place, and then take the time in the evening or on the weekends, which was best for me, to work and build my business. But doing the paid solo ad strategy worked best for me, so I could handle my kids because my kids were younger and I had to be there for them.
Yeah, being like in a position where you have to take care of a family alone, manage your debt, and still build a business because you can't keep on living life like that is just not sustainable, is just really being between a rock and a hard place. And many people that I work with actually been there. I've been in a similar but not such a dire situation. Like when I was struggling for cash, I was still living with my parents. Like I had way more freedom financially and way fewer responsibilities. I didn't have any kids yet, so I didn't feel that burden. But when I first heard your story, like how you had to get out of the divorce, well, you had the 2 children, so there's no time, there's no money, so you're literally coming up against all these crazy odds, and you succeed anyway. And this is the incredible part of the story for me, because very few stories out there with relation to internet marketing, the real ones, right, tell a story of somebody who's over 40 or over 50 years old and actually succeeds. Most success stories are of whiz kids like me, right? I'm only 29 right now. I should turn 29 earlier this month. And, my story isn't anywhere near close to what many of my clients want to create for themselves because they're much older and they do have all these responsibilities. So first off, okay, I just want to take a quick break and just quite literally digitally applaud you, okay, for what you have achieved for yourself in spite of all the obstacles. That's seriously cool. And, that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to expose your story to the world through the show, is because to show that you are for real and people like you actually do exist, that they're able to live a life to improve their life while dealing with all the nonsense, right, that life has to offer. Unfortunately, the death and the divorces, a lot of that unnecessary baggage that we can acquire along the way. So, but let's get back to your story because we're not done yet. So you're with Empower Network now. Empower Network is on the rise. You're building your team. You're seeing results. But we know that right now you're not with Empower Network. In fact, Empower Network doesn't even exist right now. So what happened?
Yeah, well, first off, let me give being in the Army, some of that credit to why I'm so becoming successful. And that has to do, and I just want to share that with your listeners, and that is the fact of having that never give up mentality. That kind of got indwelt in me by being able to be diligent, work as a team, no understanding about working as a team, and driving on. Because this is going to happen with that never give up mentality. You're just going to make it happen. But yeah, so to Empower Network, I began to see change as we're continuing to grow. Things were changing within Empower Network, starting to see some of the top leadership begin to leave. And there was began too much change going on and people were dropping off. Well, I have a friend that was part of that organization. His name is Alex and Anna Zubarev, and they shared with me about Digital Altitude. And so I was very interested in that. Well, immediately I found out that Michael Forrest, the founder of Digital Altitude, was an ex-Marine. Boom. That was an immediate trust factor for me. He's a soldier. I'm a soldier. And that was an immediate connection. So I went over and looked at it. I liked how it was laid out, highly structured, organized, step by step. Had steps you had to go through. Immediately, you're connected with a personal coach that will take you on and guide you through being successful every step of the way. So for me to transition over it was just a no-brainer. Just move over, follow the leader who I already knew, which was Alex and Anna Zubarev, and just start applying what I've already learned and doing the things that I'm taught within Digital Altitude.
Now, this is where I have to kind of make a quick pause, because there is a great distinction, in my opinion, between your transition from World Profit, where you just got started, to Empower, where you had no assets really, to now transitioning from Empower to DA after you started building your list. So how were these transitions different for you?
Well, yeah. Well, they were moving from one that was not getting anywhere to something where I started gaining. And it's always a personal development journey. about developing right skills, understanding how to build, capture pages, bridging pages, using social media the right way to build relationships with other people, building an email list, within like using Aweber or GetResponse and corresponding with that list. All those skills gained on how to provide added value to your list and just do the right things all along the way, making a list of here's all the things that didn't work, here are the things that do work, and these are the things that I'm going to do because I know they produce something. So that was kind of the journey, and it's helped me to become a better marketer and knowing the right things to do.
I think we can never underestimate the importance of building a list, because think about it. You've transitioned from a power network with an asset, with people, with a tribe, if you will. It may not have been the most responsive tribe, I'm guessing, but it was something which allowed you to almost have a quick start with DA. I mean, how soon was it from the moment you signed up with DA did you make your first sale?
It was about 3 weeks. And I think that has something to do with it. You're and this is why I like the program, because you have to do steps. And the coach that connects with you will not unlock the further steps until you've completed the first 3 steps. And they want you to come back to them and report back. Did you understand it? What did you get out of it, so that you have a clear understanding of your way forward? So it was definitely a big benefit, and it helps people to come in, and the retention rate is high once they get started. But the 3 weeks, first person coming in and actually getting started at a certain level, because there are different levels, it was about another 3 weeks, and I had a couple come in. But what happened for me was I was able to go from within that first getting started at that one level, and all within about 3 months, I'm now at the top level within Digital Altitude. And that had to do with doing the consistent daily actions, using my paid solo ad strategy, and the income continuing to rise allowed me to position myself finally at the top level. But that was by following through, staying consistent, and never letting up.
Wow, this is incredible. I know people, some of the clients that I spoke to, that their dream is to get positioned. In fact, I spoke to one client last week. Yeah, last week on Sunday we spoke. And when I asked him the question, like, what would you like to achieve a year from now? He said, and I quote, I want to be fully positioned with my company, which is Digital Altitude. So you've done that in you said 90 days?
About 90 days, yeah. It took about 90 days.
Yeah, that is crazy, because very few people can actually brag about that. A lot of people that I know, in order to get positioned, they take out a loan because they just can't make that sort of money. And, to see you do it by just hustling and never giving up and moving forward and using your assets and becoming a better marketer, it's awesome.
And I will share with you that I think that's where people get into the struggles. You have to force yourself to maintain that positive mindset each and every day moving forward. So many people let their guard down and fall to the waist. Oh, I'm not getting the results. And then they just kind of get down on themselves. I'm telling you, it's a daily action for you to get up and I don't care if you're reading something, audio book, or listening to a YouTube video. Reset your mind every morning with positive mindset stuff, and that will help charge you like Energizer batteries and keep you moving forward.
I'm not big on motivation. I guess overtly I am, but I don't necessarily preach being motivated. But I heard somewhere a great quote, like motivation is kind of like a shower. Right, that's what recommended daily, because you get dirty, because the world around you kind of does things to put you down. So you want to kind of replenish that motivational bar or the willpower bar, which wears off throughout the day. So in that respect, I agree with you. Now, let's move away from motivation for a second and perhaps focus on some specific application. So you went this journey, like you've made the way from a nobody to a somebody, from somebody who didn't make anything to somebody who's making money online. So if I were to ask you to share the 3 daily activities that have made the difference for you, what would those activities be?
Well, the first one is making sure that I email my list to my subscribers, and that's the first action I'm going to do, and and corresponding with them, and always not just sending an offer out to your list, but providing added value to your subscribers. And then during the day, I'm going to be able to post some social media, and I work on building. I use Instagram. That seems to be it's a long-term strategy, but however it works as it gets larger and larger, it really works because you're allowed to post your link within the bio profile piece only. But people like looking at pictures and seeing images, and I use an inspirational, motivational site where I'm posting very positive mindset on others' journey to success. And people click the link, and then they go into the capture page, which then drops them into my list, and then they're now a subscriber. And that's where you also start building up and people end up joining your team. I post on Facebook as well as Twitter and do those things. But I use a tool, and it's really simple, because if you find some right tools along the way, and this does take time because you got to find the right tools that work for you. But one of them happens to be Buffer, and that lets you broadcast out to your social media sites. So it could be Facebook, Twitter, Google+, but you can put that little that little text or ad copy in there and blast it out at appropriate times.
All right, so that's two. So the one thing you do is you always email your list, and the second thing you do is you post on Instagram and other social media outlets using an automated software, which is smart, to save time. And then you drive people from the social media again to your list. What would be number three?
And number three is making sure that I'm on a steady roll with my paid solo ad strategy. So the reason I really like this and something I caught on to was nowhere have I found doing other things could I build my list so quick. So as long as I keep on a steady rolling schedule with my paid solo ad strategy, I'm always having people opting in and into my list throughout each and every week, with it growing. And just like I said before, as it grows and income grows, then I continue to take some of those funds back and keep scaling up. And as you continue to scale up, it just gets larger over time and more productive. So, because you're starting to get greater results. As your list gets larger, the results become larger.
All right, Major. So thank you for sharing that. So just to kind of, go over what you just said, the first thing to do, always make sure to email your list every day. The second thing is you post on social media, driving people onto your squeeze page and onto your list. Okay, always building that list, which is, again, really, really smart. And the third thing is get on a steady, consistent, roll with your solo ads, meaning that you always have new subscribers hitting your list. You're always having new traffic hitting your squeeze pages, using paid traffic strategy because it's automated, because it saves you a lot of time, and because it leaves the time for you to take on other tasks, which I'm guessing is even more important, right, when you're working a full-time job. Like if you're somebody who works a full-time job, you have even less time. So, the importance of paid traffic is obvious. Now, the one last question I want to ask you before we run out of time here, we're almost done, is this. It's one of my most favorite questions to ask of anyone who's successful in any endeavor in their life. If you could go back in time, Major, to the point when you were about 30 days in, when you were about 30 days into internet marketing, making money online, to that point where you're overwhelmed as hell and you're still trying to understand what the hell's going on and you're not sure about the direction you're taking and you're just confused, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, don't start where I started in the beginning and doing those type things if I would have known. But definitely would have what I know now and what I'm doing now. If I would have known that early on, I would be so much further along now by just executing what I'm doing now, understanding why using a paid solo ad strategy for me works best and helped me to get to where I'm at now. After understanding that in such a greater way in comparison to what I was spinning my wheels on for a couple of years in the beginning.
All right, Major, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, the one last question, which I should ask, of course, is once this episode hits the masses, you will probably have people wanting to reach out to you, either to connect with you, to mastermind with you, or to recruit you into their team because you're a top producer. But, I'm guessing a lot of people will want to work with you and have you help them, get ahead and succeed. So where would they go to find out more about how they can work with you?
Yeah, you can go over to my site. It's disciplineofone.com. that'll take you over to my site. And there's a lot of added value, business building information there for people that are trying to build their business, as well as a way to contact me, reach out to me. But I want to share with your listeners the one thing is you can do the same thing I'm doing. I'm not really anybody, any different than you. All you have to do, though, whatever you're doing, just get in there, take the time to learn, follow, and do, and be consistent and never give up, because you will get there. I guarantee you will get there. I'm just one of those individuals that are living proof to that. And I know you can do the same.
Well, you've heard him, folks. If you want to work with Major Sumner or find out more about him, go to disciplineof1, in one word, disciplineof1.com. and you'll find more information. Now, Major, I gotta say, your website isn't impressive, but that's one of the reasons why this is so cool to see, that nothing that you do is glamorous. I mean, nothing. You're not glamorous. Your website isn't glamorous. Your emails aren't glamorous. But here you are living the kind of life that people wish they had, the glamorous life of an internet marketer. So once again, Major, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. In fact, thank you so much for making 3 attempts and to record this interview, because
Right.
It has not been easy. I appreciate your patience every step of the way. I salute you for what you have achieved, and I really, really, really hope that we can get this episode into the hands of as many people as possible, so they can see and understand that they too can work from home full time in spite of living a very difficult life right now. So, Major, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And list builders, until next time we chat, have a good one. Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.